Before I start the presentation and discussion on this topic, is a very wide topic. I would like each of us sitting here as a procurement community, for everybody here in the room and outside the room, in the offices working, a big round of applause. You are contributing very well to the organizations. So usually we guys feel sometimes our motivation is going low. Organizations sometimes recognize, sometimes not. The piece of the cake always being taken away by the sales team because they bring in the money, we bring out the money. So for the finance colleagues, it's always, yeah, these are the expense centers to us. But guys, believe we are doing a good justice to the spend what we are making. So I usually have a slogan, buy better, spend better. So what we buy makes a value to the organizations for the future. With this note, I would like to start, and first I would like to thank GP, UBS, iValua, and other partners for inviting me here. And on this topic, I'm trying to make a justice to at least touch base on the key elements of supply negotiations. Next slide, please. Oh, it's here. Thank you so much. Just a quick thing, and it's a very soft skill as well when we talk about negotiations. We need to first believe and say yes or no as a voting, whether supplier relationships, your open communications, collaboration, trust, are these really helping an important element in the whole negotiation process for us or no? Can I expect some hand raise if we agree or disagree to that? Okay. Great, great. At least, on the conceptually we are aligned, and this indeed makes a big difference. I would come to a slide later on why negotiation is different from a bargaining, because that's a big topic. But believe me, these soft skills are going to pay much more than what we expect in the whole negotiation process. In fact, just a recap of the COVID period wherein we were being brought to the center of the whole discussions, how we are able to secure the supplies, bring value to the organizations, make the sales available in that tough time. Now management has much more expectations from us to add more value. When we say value, this means, of course, one is a cost reduction, but important piece is to have vendors who are sustainable to us. We have seen vendors who were there prior to COVID, but during COVID, they could not sustain because of various challenges, where we negotiated, but we are not screened through their sustainability in terms of their financials or on their manufacturing sites. Why we always talk about relationship strong enough to sustain in any headwind or fall wind? What merit we have out of the strong relationship? One is cost, which is the first prime KPI to us, but other aspects which are equally important is innovation, quality, and the resilience in the supply chain. I can give each of these here examples. Innovations, post-COVID and during COVID also, many suppliers came to us, X metal is not available, we can offer you Y, this is equivalent to your what you are looking at. That is one innovation which we started and we adopted also. That was an eye-opener to many of the companies as well. I would touch upon how we can do that. We all know these are good things to have, but how to address this? You might be having all these KYC forms when you go to the bank or you open your MF account or trading account. Have you opened a KYS with the suppliers? We do vendor onboarding, we register them, but that is not KYS. KYS is you need to know your vendor more than the financials, how sustainable they are. Visit them, understand them. If they have a pain, which could be your pain in the future, anticipate now. This is what I mean to say here, KYS. This is about the new vendor, but if it is already vendor in place, how to assess that also. There you can use all the AI tools, which iCert is talking about the contracts, I value a GPT, talking of AI tools. These are going to help you in case you have a bigger spend base to track their performance in the past and the future. One thing on a soft skill again point, vendors expect a clarity in communication. They expect one or two persons need to be as a focal point contact. Multiple people communicating in multiple ways with their own thought process spoils the whole negotiation process. As there is a saying also, multiple chefs spoil the recipe. So try to stay focused, make in your organization category buyers who are focused on X material or Y material so that they have good hold of the category and the supplier. The goals need to be strategic in alignment to the company's vision and mission for the year at least. You should not be talking or giving a false hope to the suppliers of meeting X number of volume and negotiating the prices. Later on, they are like calling off the volumes. Let's stay transparent so that whatever he commits and we commit, stay together with the contract in place. This is one slide and the top heading which I like the most and I practice most in the current organization plus in previous operations as well. If there is an issue, this means there is an opportunity. That brings your thought process to innovate, to make the growth and the sales to the organization. COVID is example. I think everybody has many examples of COVID, which turned around the issues of non-availability of material, wherein the nearby vendor in the local area could support on the available quantities, or your relation with your overseas supplier, despite all the challenges of the air freight, sea freight, they supported well to at least supply the materials. Or you could get the alternate suppliers with a different product but was working well for your organizations. So you need to assess the situation, recognize, accept the challenge, find alternate solution, brainstorm equally with the suppliers. We usually do brainstorming in our own meeting rooms. Please do that session with the suppliers as well. They are more value add sometimes than because we think in a specified area of framework, but they have much more to offer us. Balance is your contract and monitoring, but definitely it helps the initial process of your homework to make a growth. So this is I was referring to the procurement community, as I always urge, let's negotiate better, but let's not bargain. You can do bargaining once or twice, but every time you cannot churn the value out of it. For negotiation, I think in the previous presentation also, Isaitis mentioned about the contract terms and all. Those are also equally negotiable. So don't always talk or negotiate on the pricing. Your terms, your time, or delivery to the port or delivery to your factory, all terms are equally important to negotiate about. You might have a KPI on the cost saving or cost reductions. That is one KPI, but believe me, now the organizations are looking for more value add. You might be hearing of cost saving, cost avoidance, and cost reduction, all these three terms. These are not synonymous. You can quantify them separately. You can put them as in your KPIs as well. What is needed to have a right negotiation? First is important is time, which sometimes we do not have because urgency is so high and there is a firefighting at the manufacturing, we have to get the metal on now basis. So we have to preempt, we need to really look at our safety stocks so that we know what kind of urgency can come in. You have to have your pricing negotiation well in advance for the year quantity. If it is a commodity, if it is very specific, you have to have long-term contracts, and those help suppliers and us together to maintain some safety stocks. Negotiation, little bit touching more on this, how three key pillars, this is a golden triangle of negotiation. Our suppliers, those are our business partners, our current business, that is our sales force, marketing team, and us, the procurement team, when we join together, we turn to a growth path, we turn to higher margins for the organization, we lead to a sustainable approach of the business. So for that, we have to negotiate and make a balance of internal and external stakeholders both. When we say internal, this is all our business community, finance, and external is all our supplier and vendor base. We have to build rapport and get the support from both the hands together. If one is falling short, I'm sure there is going to be imbalance. Either sales is higher, forecast is higher than what you're supplying, or inventory is up, which sales is not able to meet the sales in the market. So either side, if you supply more, inventory is a question to you. If you supply less, sales loss is to your account. Make a balance of it. Long-term relationship is a very buzzword now and then, but when we say long-term, is your commitment what you're going to make to a supplier. Here, it doesn't mean you're going to make a contract commitment for 3 years or 5 years. You can mix with commitment for the year. You can mix a variability of 20%, 15% based on your category of material. But yes, give them some assurance that you are going to stay with the supplier if you are committing this kind of price slabs to us. So make a win-win situation for your suppliers. Output is inevitable. If you are following the entire process, your cost reduction, your savings, your credibility is going to be high there. So please do not focus first on the output, focus on the process. Output is bound to come there. Just a touch base on how AI, we have seen certain presentations here. A lot of data crunching, data collection is there. But really there is a study also is being done in 2021 by a procurement community. Compared to the companies who are using AI and companies who are not using AI, irrespective of the industry, I'm not making a biasness to the industry. So 4 to 5%, they are achieving more. Why? Simply because firstly they are saving time. What they are using for data crunching, generating all data, making scenarios to understand the whole situation. If you are saving time, you have more time to research, more time to think through the problem statement. In our organization also, we have started now making this AI as a database situation. Vendor onboarding is really going well, and we are saving a lot of time and resources time. There are resources who are doing mundane work, they are now able to grow to a category managers also. So they also feel good, they are learning something more than just routinely making vendor onboarding process. When we say supplier evaluation is equally important because it's going to be the base of your negotiation in the future. Evaluate your current suppliers on parameters of their performance, OTIF, defects in case they are there, you can track that very well. Make a central repository, what all spent from which all geographies they are making. Just one quick example you might have come across, there are big organizations who have spread of offices from US, Europe, Singapore. From each of the countries, they have a different salesperson coming to you, coming with a different category of product. But at the back end, they are not synced together. So you are unable to take leverage of the volume of spend you are buying with them. If you integrate all together, believe me, you have a better negotiating power on the volume discount. But this requires whole data to be together. Get a feedback timely on the vendors also if they are really happy with our situations on the purchase orders and supplies and OTIF what we are asking. Reduce your lead times with them. Every month or every week reduction is a value to the organization. Just a glimpse of dashboard which is going to help on every month basis how procurement community is making a presentation to the seniors. Plus, we know where we stand with the supplier if it is really making performance upward or downward. So this will be very helpful in case you have multiple suppliers. If you have unique single suppliers, this might be giving a glimpse of how the things are progressing from the previous year. But believe me, this kind of data gives an eye opener sometimes. We are lacking in certain areas. For example, on the OTIF, if OTIF is really going high, this means the trigger is your lead time system is incorrect. Change that, reduce that. So that is a negotiating tool you can have. Is another set of the dashboard wherein we focus, as I was mentioning, about cost reduction, savings and cost avoidance. All three you can quantify. In services, very difficult to say the cost reduction. You cannot have a budget for any service, but you can avoid the cost which you are negotiating, bringing down the cost from the first quote. Though there is a fight, either they are going to capitalize or no, but you can present that and discuss with the finance to reduce the cost of the respective department, reduce that extra expenses. This I will skip in the interest of time. Is simply that you have to collect all data, and your data source is equally important, and then you can move to the contract management and ERP systems. Just one out of these two case studies I will pick up here. This was how the AI is helping any of the organizations. In China, there was a company who was installing a lot of towers there, and they found one company owner is at the back of 4 different companies who are bidding for the process. And they could find out at the back end, the proprietor is same, their financial statements are same. And they could find out only when they have the database in place. Earlier, because it was all paper based earlier, they could not find out 4 companies are bidding. Whosoever wins is one at the back end. So this is how kind of non-compliance also being trapped when we have a database in place. Just a recap. Before the recap, I just like to touch upon today only there is a article in the Times of India. The negotiation is happening on the tariff between US and India, right? Trump said, okay, whatever India gave, we will follow the same. So that's interesting article to follow and to see how the trade tariff is going to turn out. In parallel, Tesla is they're making plan of investment in India, and simply because they see a benefit. If they go for this EV vehicles, they can import in India the vehicles at this tariff of only 10% against 110% of tariff. So the point I am trying to make is it's also negotiation. Both the parties intend to see the merit. This is how they will come together. Still, is going to be interesting date for future. Do that, please. In short, here, what procurement community we are trying to make our KPIs aligned to the vision of the company. That is 5 year down the line, plus on the year basis and the strategies, which requires our skill sets. Please try to encourage your young chaps to learn more, get more trainings on the negotiations. Negotiation, to be honest, is not simply just somebody will learn by reading. It has to be trained. It has to be learned with the scenarios in place. Data is very important to understand. Otherwise, a small set of data, 1 year data is not going to help with the right judgment on the product. And the solution is inevitable with the right approach. Thanks so much.